Hello, welcome to Story Tales. I hope all of you are doing good today. Today we're going to read about this story. It's a classic which I read it as a little girl. My father read out this to me, and I just hope each of you enjoys this story just the way I enjoyed it when I was a little girl. It was written by Hans Christian Andersen. So let's jump into the story. Uh, well, sorry, I'm a little bit clumsy. So I hope you like the pictures. The illustrations are pretty good. So let's go about it. It was cold in the small, cramped attic of the tenement where a family of 5 children was at work making artificial flowers. The wind whistled through the room, try as they might to stuff the biggest cracks with rags and straw. One of the children, who had a specially graceful way about her, was sent out to sell flowers and matches in the city. It was late in the wintry afternoon of New Year's Eve as the poor little girl walked along the icy streets. She had slippers on when she left home, but they were not much good, for they were so huge. They had last been worn by her mother, and when they fell off the girl's feet when she was running across the avenue to avoid an automobile and a carriage that had nearly collided. The pages are stuck together, so it's becoming tough to turn it around. Okay, let's go about it. So the poor little girl went on with nothing but torn stockings on her numb feet. She carried a quantity of matches in the tray and the flowers in a basket. As she trudged along, she marveled at the many wonderful things for sale, things that the little girl could have never imagined. And there was most delicious odor of roast goose in the streets, for it was New Year's Eve. She could not forget that. That's one colorful street. Nobody had bought anything from her as the afternoon turned into evening. Nobody had even given her a coin. The child was hungry and trembling from the bitter cold, and she looked the picture of misery. Poor little thing. Her little hands and feet were almost stiff with cold. She thought perhaps a match would do some good. But did she dare take one from the tray and strike it on the wall to warm her fingers? She pulled one out, and with wish it blazed into life. It burned with a bright, clear flame, just like a little candle when she held her hand around it. It gave off a very strange light too. It seemed to the little girl that she was sitting in front of a big stove with polished brass feet and handles. There was a splendid fire blazing in it and warming her so beautifully. But just as she was stretching her feet to warm them, the blaze went out, the stove vanished, and she was left sitting with the end of the burnt out match in her hand. Sad, very sad. She struck a new one. It burned, it blazed up, and where the light fell, the wall became transparent, and she saw a marvelous feast spread out before her. The table was spread with a white cloth and a pretty china, and a roast goose stuffed with apples and chestnuts was streaming on it. There was another table filled with cookies and desserts of all kinds. The little girl's mouth watered as she gazed at these delicacies. The match went out, and there was nothing to be seen but the bare brick wall. Again she lit another. This time she was sitting next to a lovely Christmas tree, surrounded by beautiful clothes and toys, all the things she had seen only in shop windows. Thousands of lighted candles gleamed upon the tree's branches. The little girl stretched out both her hands towards them, then out went the march. The Christmas candles rose higher and higher till she saw that they were only the twinkling stars. She lit another and one of them fell and made a bright streak of light across the sky. Someone is dying, thought the little girl, for her little old grandmother, the only person who had ever been kind to her, used to say, "When a star falls, a soul is going up to God." Now she struck another match against the wall, and this time it was her grandmother who appeared in the circle of flame. She saw her quite clearly and distinctly, looking so gentle and loving. She lit still another, and this time she was with her grandmother, just as they had been so many times before. How real it all seemed to be. "Grandmother," cried the lonely child, "oh, do take me with you. I know you will vanish when the march goes out. You will vanish like the warm stove, the delicious goose, and the beautiful Christmas tree." She hastily struck a whole bunch of matches because she did it so long to keep her grandmother with her. The light of the matches made it as bright as day. Grandmother had never been looked so big or so beautiful. She lifted the little girl into her arms, and they soared in a halo of light and joy, far, far above the earth, where there were no more cold, no hunger, no pain, for they were with God. In the cold morning light, the little girl sat there in the corner with a smile on her face, dead, frozen to death on the last night of the old year. When the people of the city finally rose on New Year's Day, they discovered the little body still sitting with the ends of the burned out matches in her hand. The flowers have been scattered by the frigid night, went across the sidewalk and into the street. She must have tried to warm herself, some said. But no one imagined what beautiful visions she had seen, not into what glory she had entered with her grandmother in the new year. Well, children, whatever God has given us in life, we should be grateful about it, because there are many children who are not fortunate enough to have proper homes, love of their parents, beautiful, delicious things to eat, and access to a lot of luxuries. So, whenever we see someone who is less fortunate than us, do help them with whatever you can. Even a small blanket or pencil box or pencils or even a candy would mean the world to them. And always, always give thanks to God for all the many blessings that we have today. Until next time, hope you all have a blessed night. Good night.